Sometimes a single thought can turn into a million words, and that's the mood I'm in right now. I was making a video earlier today about the quote unquote scandal with gospel artist Kirk Franklin and his son, and the release of a recording in their conversation together. The son apparently secretly recorded him and his father, and basically it is Kirk Franklin kind of going on a bit of a rant, and he's cursing and everything, and he's cursing the guy out, and he's threatening him. And so the son released it, and it is now public and all of that good stuff. But I think the unfortunate part for me, I think what bothered me personally is that we as Christians get such a bad rap when it comes to us doing anything outside of perfection. And I think that's the misconception. We are not perfect. We're not meant to be perfect. We don't try to be perfect, at least those of us that understand the true meaning of grace, that understand what forgiveness is, that understand when the word says that, a just man falleth 7 times. So we are forgiven of our sins. And so I keep thinking about it, and I keep thinking about it. And I know part of it too is our fault as believers. We have made it seem as though we have a monopoly on goodness. It's the history that we've presented to the world in our past, in our present. But I think, and at least I thought, that the tables were turning, that we were being a little bit more transparent and a little bit more honest about just how flawed we are. So again, a million thoughts are coming from, or a million words are coming from a single thought. And I wanted to be sure I got it out. A lot of times I hold back on saying things, and I have 1,000 ideas written, and then I don't share them, because of insecurity or worry or even the fear of judgment. And then I think I'm doing the same thing to myself that I don't want done to other people. And it's like, why? Why sacrifice substance for fear of criticism? It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. But anyway, so, I say all of that to say, with the scandal with Kirk Franklin, which apparently, is more known in the Black community, especially the Black church community, because we, of course, are very familiar, at least most of us are very familiar with his music and his ministry and, his career and stuff like that. And I just wish that we would have and practice forgiveness as much as we ask for it. He is, who is without sin should cast the first stone. And this is the words of Jesus. And most of us are sitting behind boulders. So I would be very cautious and very careful if you're a person that has judged him because of what's, been shared through that recording. I'd be very, very careful standing behind that glass house. I really would, because it amazes me that it's okay for people to wear these T-shirts that say, I pray but I got hands, or try God, not me, or all the other kinds of little sayings that I've seen a lot of us share and say and all of that, but then have the audacity to judge Kirk Franklin on using a few curse words. Really? Legit? Like, so we're going to do that? It's just, it's crazy. So, it's no wonder the world sees us as hypocrites, because the hypocrisy within the church is ridiculous. And so much of it was revealed in 2020, especially from an evangelical side. It's just a lot of us as Black churches, grace has been covering us. And I think that we just need to be careful. We really do, with how we judge. Instead of beating someone down when they are already going through, we should be the first ones to lift each other up, to encourage each other. That's not to say that we don't hold each other accountable for our wrongs, or that we don't say, hey, brother, you stepped out of line. Let's address this. Let's correct this. Let's make this right. It's just, there's a way to do that without being condescending without being arrogant. There is a way to pursue correction with humility. And we just don't do that. We really don't. And I think we have got to be better at doing that. So anyway, that was just one of my thoughts that I kept pondering on today. And it makes me just think of a lot of things, how many ways that I have not been forgiving, or the ways that I've been a hypocrite, or, how much better I need to be, or even the fact that, thankfully my rants or raves or bad days haven't been recorded, because they happen. We're human. We have emotions, we have feelings, we have frustrations. We get bothered by things. And I totally could see a parent being upset with their child, especially an adult child. This man is 30 something years old. So there's probably a lot of history that we don't know about. So who's to say, who's right, who's wrong? I think they were both in the wrong for the way they handled it. And if you catch just the glimpse of what we hear, because we only know the tidbit of what was shared, if you catch that, you see that the son is very careful in what he says because he knows he's recording. So, to me, that was also just a setup. Why do that? Why secretly record your father and then share it, knowing what it could do, what it's going to do, the confusion it's going to cause? Unfortunately, he allowed himself to be used, and it definitely wasn't by God. So, and in Kirk's, to me, from my point of view, he got angry, he got upset, he spoke what he was feeling from his flesh, and that's understandable because parents get frustrated with us. I get frustrated with people. I mean, hey, it happens. So, just practice forgiveness, man. Seriously, this judgment as if we are, as Christians, have a monopoly on goodness and then look at everybody else crazy. It just doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. We have got to do and be better. It is just tiring. And frankly, I'm tired of some of y'all in this church. Baby, woo, we are one body. And some of these hands I just want to smash, but instead, I try to take those feelings and pray for them, and pray about them rather, and I try to respond instead of react. And I haven't always done that. I've always asked God to make me self-aware so that I see myself, that I see the wrong in me so that I can correct it instead of projecting it on someone else. But anyway, it is what it is, y'all. So if you find yourself in judgment of someone else, be it a superstar gospel artist or that crazy cousin of yours, remember the grace and mercy that's being poured upon you. Remember what has been done in the dark and has not been revealed, and what God has covered and protected you from, and how your reputation has been protected even by people. So let's just think, y'all. Seriously. Let's be mindful. Let's be compassionate. Let's be all of these things that we ask for, that we read in the Word and yet somehow forget to do when we step outside of our homes and step outside of the church. So just a single thought that brought about a million words. This is your girl, Ro, on the Other Side of the Bed podcast. This time talking about the other side of the church. Have a good week, y'all.